Uh, oh, oh, it's you. Jeez. Where is Gus? Damn it. Well, welcome to Movie Mutations. The show where we destroy cinematic history. Yes. Waiting here all day for Gus, and started watching this garbage. I mean, I don't understand how it's called a classic. I mean, first, how many times can you hear the same song? We're off to see the wizard, the wonderful wizard. I mean, there was like 1,000 writers and directors on this movie. We could have gotten more songs. Also, the villain. Weak villain. She dies by water. Is this a M. Night Shyamalan movie? I mean, as a man of science, that's just weak. And third, this crap. That's better. That was not my idea. That was my ex-assistant Gus's idea. You know, he does cute stuff like that sometimes. Oh, speaking of him, let's go see what he's doing.
Professor, how are you?
Oh, Gus, you are alive. I've been waiting around all day for you. Oh, wow. How am I doing? I'm doing fantastic. Oh, I went to the supermarket and they didn't have my favorite tuna, so I could make my tuna sandwich. And then I sat down and watched this movie we're going to mutate today just to remind myself how much I hate it. I have a headache, but I'm doing okay. I'm fine. How are you?
Well, I'm doing okay. Thank you for asking.
I don't
Professor.
give two pieces of crap
Should have
about how you're
known.
doing.
I should have known.
Okay.
I should have known. But I need to know, what kind of tuna were you looking for, Professor?
Bumblebee, of course. Bumblebee.
Of course.
Yes.
Of course, I should have known that too. Bumblebee is the #1 tuna fish for all tuna fish lovers all across the world.
We are not doing an ad for them, okay? Back to business. Clifton, the superpowered biocomputing AI that we've been working on for months, that is going to infiltrate the internet and take over, destroy cinematic history. I mean, where is that thing that you said would be done by now? Give me good news.
Well, I've got some good news and I've got some bad news about our guy Clifton. The good news is that he is going according to all of your plans and all your blueprints and all the beautiful, brilliant things that you come up with in that beautiful mind of yours. But he unfortunately will not be ready for tonight's mutation. He's just too genius of a thing for us to pull off in time, Professor. I'm sorry. Don't scold me too much.
Guys! What are you doing over there? I mean, I know you have no life. I know your mother still brings you your cereal in the morning. What are you doing? I thought you were a man of science. I thought you were a scientist. God.
I know. Nobody hates me more than I hate myself, Professor. Not only with Clifton, but with everything else. Oh, such a failure. Damn it. But I promise you, Professor, once Clifton's up and running, he's going to be the best invasive AI that you've ever seen. He's going to be in every computer, every tablet, every TV, every device in the world, just erasing and changing cinematic history according to your plans. Just not now.
Father. Beautiful father. That beautiful mind you had. If only you were here to help me make this happen. Instead, I have an incompetent assistant. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. We're all good. Subjects. The subjects are ready, and we can still get the data we need. So we're not wasting our time. Let's do it. We're ready, right?
Oh yes, Professor. They are ready and willing and able. They've been setting up plans for quite some time. Remember, we have some silver linings to fall back on. Somewhere over the rainbow, there's just something
Mm-mm.
magical happening,
Ah,
and
la,
that's
la, la,
happening here
la,
with us. Oh yes,
la,
it
la,
is.
la, 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 la. I do not want to hear one more word about this movie ever again, unless
Okay.
it's, oh, we're hitting the erase button and we're changing it into something way better. Okay, so let's stop now and let's just go ahead and get started with our first movie mutation.
Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to the first installment of Movie Mutations. This is a new game we've started over here at the Chasing Labels network, or what do you want to call it? This is the game where we take one of your favorite films, or maybe one of your loathed films of all time, and we run it through the movie mutation grinder, and it with 2 players, and then it turns into something. I don't know. We'll find out. But yeah, today I got my 2 judges here. One, of course, we got Mr. Andrew Cabral, my partner in crime. How you doing, man?
Doing good, doing good. Glad to be here judging this movie mutation premiere, as they say. We should have gotten lights and a red carpet and all kinds of cool stuff. But of course, we're on a budget. But
Yeah.
the movie that will be mutated today is a movie that seemed to have a grand budget for its time, The Wizard of Oz, a classic and beloved film. I know it's one of my all-time favorites, just in general. I just rewatching this movie brought me back to the first time I saw it when I was a young child watching it on VHS for the first time, probably when I was like 3 years old. Like it's like one of my first movie memories, if you will, is watching The Wizard of Oz at such a young age. So it was incredibly nostalgic.
Nice. That's another show, Movies Down Memory Lane, on
Mm.
Chasing Labels page. Go check that out too. But of course, with Movie Mutations, you'll learn that every show we have a guest judge, and in this case, we got to have this guy. He's one of the best ones out there. One of the best guys in the YouTube space. Knows all the stuff about physical media. Mr. Ryan Verrill from The Disconnected. What's up, man?
How we doing? Thank you. Glad to be here, especially for the first one. I have an argument that this might be the most seen film of all time. I think this is the film that we can say the most individuals throughout history have probably ever seen.
I would say so. It seems to get spoofed a lot in popular culture, and it's of course getting these prequel. They got the Broadway stuff. Yeah, I mean it's one of the most influential films of all time for sure.
Without a doubt.
Is it a favorite of yours? Do you actually like it?
It's okay. I mean, I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's great. It's not one that I go back to every single year or anything because I still got a lot to discover. But this is one that, I mean, you can't really argue with the ability to craft a story as beautiful as this one, with the color marvels that are in this movie, with the honestly some of the biggest actors of the time, creating this incredible road movie, like one of the first ones that stuck and made it a pure genre in itself that we all look back on fondly.
Yeah, and it's a film that I think stands the test of time for sure, and it's going to continue to I think be there. It's crazy. What is it? 1939. We're getting close to 100 years old. Wait, I can't wait for it to go into public domain so that we can get these horror remake versions. And I know you're a horror guy, Ryan, so we'll get the horror remake versions. And you'll be way back into it. Then you'll be like, I love Wizard of Oz.
I just literally 2 weekends ago, I saw Bambi: The Reckoning in theaters, and I definitely wasted about 87 minutes of my life.
It's okay. Well, we'll get it back for you tonight, man. You're not going to waste your time here. So, of course,
if this is the first episode of Movie Mutations, you might not know what it is. So what Movie Mutation is, it's a game that we put together that breaks a movie down into 3 sections. You got the genre round, you got the director round, and you have the cast. And we have 2 players that will go through each round, slowly mutating the film into something different. And through each barrier there, they have to go through a round of trivia to gain advantages, things like that. We'll get into it, but let's meet them players. We will get back to the judges here soon. Guys, keep listening back there. All right, so the first person I'm going to introduce, he's a longtime friend, used to do some amateur filmmaking stuff, and he has now become, a good independent cinematographer, filmmaker himself. He wants to become a professor, a historian of. He's a little bit conceited. Julian Morgan.
Me conceited? Never. And
No.
personally, I'm honored to be here to review the classic YouTube video, The Wizard of Pot.
You had to bring it up. Ah, man.
Once, you know I had to.
No. So yeah, me and Julian, one of the last projects we were able to do together. Unfortunately, it's unreleased because it ain't technically finished, but we did a whole alternate version of Wizard of Oz, which was called Wizard of Pot, a pothead version.
One might say.
Some might say it'll get out one day. I think we just got to find a place other than YouTube to release it, because it keeps taking down our videos.
Yeah.
But yeah, how you doing, Julian?
I'm doing good, man. It's been a pretty productive couple months. I am currently working as a cinematographer on a local film project. Shout out to Rain Strader, the local director. We were supposed to shoot a week and a half ago, but it rained, so we had to push it back to September.
Okay.
But it's been a great time. I love in the actual filmmaking process. I think I like cinematography like the most. I love being behind the camera. I love shooting it, and talking about behind the scenes stuff and camera work. Rewatching The Wizard of Oz. Obviously, it's famous for its Technicolor from the time, and rewatching it today, it's reminds me why it's one of my favorite movies of all time. It creates like a magic, for lack of a better term, that I think has rarely been replicated in like any film. And I'm a huge fan of the original books by L. Frank Baum. So it's been a joy to like rediscover it again.
Yeah. Awesome,
for the
man.
200th time.
Yeah, well, you're gonna need its help tonight. But let's get over to our your opponent, your who's gonna be fighting you for the soul of this new movie. He is also a podcaster. He does a podcast called the Authorized Podcast, where they go into books that have been turned into films and going through the books. We got Mr. Johnny Pomatto. What's up, man?
Hello. Happy to be here. And I should clarify, Authorized is actually movies turned into books. The novelizations.
The other way around. That's what I meant.
If we were only reading books that were turned into movies, the books would probably be better. But usually they're not usually. Often we get some good ones, but there's a lot of bad novelizations out there. You ever watch U.S. Marshals and think, gee, I wonder what this would be like if it were 260 pages in small print? Well, I know. Yeah.
That's one I was actually curious about, so I'm going to have to go to that podcast. But how you doing, Johnny? How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm excited for this. This is a long time coming. You've been teasing this for months and months, and I think that we've settled on a good movie to start with. One of my all-time favorites. I was just thinking, I distinctly remember, learning about this film for the first time. It's probably one of my earliest memories. I was at a friend's house. I was also 3 years old, and it was like, do you want to watch The Wizard of Oz? And just that combination of words was like, ooh, what is that? And probably my my first black and white film too. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, it's well, black and white, and then
I was
something
gonna
happens.
say
Gets
it's
a little
bit,
mutated along the
that's
way.
a little cheap there. If you only
Yeah.
you've only picked like 30 minutes of less than 30 minutes of black and white. I mean,
Yeah, well, I remember being a little perturbed by what is this I'm seeing, and yeah, I'm just excited to mutate it in a way that doesn't involve like Pink Floyd or AI or the Vegas sphere. We really can't get enough of like messing with this movie, but yeah, no, we're gonna keep it pure, do something new with it.
Well,
Pink
I
Floyd
can't wait.
Pink Floyd is fun though.
I've done it. Yeah, I was 16 once.
Well, I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. Let's do it. Let's get this thing started. So we go, like I said, we go into round one. We have the genre round, and these guys were presented with 3 predetermined genres that they could pitch for. And in this case, their 3 predetermined genres are a heist film, a body swap film, or a revenge western. So keep that, guys, in mind at home. And so what they have to do to get the opportunity to pitch for one of these genres is they have to battle each other with movie trivia. In the first round, they're going to be getting trivia on events of the film, events of Wizard of Oz. So to see if they actually know the movie as well as they say they do. So, guys, are you ready?
I think so. I hope so.
Well, the first person to 5 points wins the round, and you will buzz in with your name. Here we go. Question 1. Why does Miss Gulch want to take Toto?
Julian.
Johnny.
Julian.
Dog bear ran through the garden.
That is correct.
She had it coming.
Yeah, for real. Like, brief tangent. Like, her staying power as one of the greatest villains of all time shows no wear and tear. Margaret Hamilton was such a nice lady, but the Wicked Witch and Miss Gulch is just the most unbelievable bitch. She's amazing.
I love it.
Miss Gulch kind of makes the witch seem sort of cuddly and sweet.
Yeah. The witch didn't kill the dog, try to kill the dog, at least at first.
And her whole rest of her life sucked. The actress that they thought she was that mean in real life.
She got to go on Mr. Rogers though. And that's
she cleared it up there. She did clear it up there. Question 2. As the Twister approaches the farm, what hits Dorothy in the head, knocking her out? Julian.
Window.
That is correct.
Bam.
Julian's up 2-0.
I was so counting on my name only being 2 syllables to Julian's 3 that I was like, oh, I got this in the bag. I'll be fast. But Julian's so quick.
He's sniping tonight.
Oh, here's the thing.
know.
I live in the South, so Julian is Julian, so it becomes 2 syllables.
Yeah, I noticed that you really condense it pretty well. It's good strategy there.
Yeah. All right. So question 3. What does Dorothy's house land on when they arrive to Oz?
Johnny. It would land on the Wicked Witch of the East. She of the curly feet and striped socks.
Very descriptive. You're not getting extra points for that.
Oh.
That is correct. Question 4. What attacks Dorothy and Scarecrow down the yellow brick road?
Julian. The apple trees.
The apple trees is correct. Julian's up 3-1. Question 5. How does Tin Man get rusted in place?
Johnny.
Oh.
Johnny?
He goes out one day to chop some wood, as a tin woodsman might do, and it starts to rain, and he can't get in undercover fast enough. So, yeah, oil can is all he needs.
That is correct. Question 6. How do they neutralize the lion after he confronts the group?
Julian.
She
slaps him on the nose.
That is correct.
Oh. I would have said he's frightened by Toto, but I think you're right. Yeah, the nose slap comes first. That's all it takes.
Yeah, that thing.
What'd you do that?
This is all going to devolve into Bert Lahr impressions. I promise you that.
All right, Julian's up 4-1. Or I'm sorry. Yeah. No, 4-2.
Yeah.
Question number 7. What counteracts the poison in the poppy fields?
Johnny.
Oh.
Glinda, the good witch of the north, makes it snow, and I guess the snow kind of I guess diffuses the poppies, I suppose.
That's science for you.
Yeah.
That's Wizard of Oz science.
Johnny, that was asbestos. Okay.
No,
That
more
was
poisonous than the
shaking
poppies.
the tops of the Oz
Yeah.
world there.
Yeah, with a color film, you can't get away with cornflakes. You know, it has to be actually white.
All right, it is now 4-3. Julian, you're still leading, but Johnny's coming back strong. Question 8. What sign is on the door of the Emerald City?
Julian,
Julian?
bell out of order. Please knock.
That is correct. Julian has won the round, man.
Woo.
I would have said no solicitors, but yeah.
Well, good job, Julian. This
well
was
done.
Johnny came back. He was making it tight, but so now you have the choice from the 3 predetermined genres. Once again, a heist film, a body swap film, or a revenge western. What do you got?
I've been mulling about this all day, thinking about what I would want to see from each of them, and I made a choice, which is I can't remember his name. I'm very sorry. The Australian host from the test rounds. I would have done a bushranger Australian western if he were here to give me an edge, but since he's not, I decided to do a heist film.
Okay, all right. So Julian's going to pitch for the heist version of Wizard of Oz. And so now Johnny is going to get the choice of these 2 mystery selections. These mystery selections are a buddy cop film
Gotcha.
or a space opera.
Ooh.
Okay. No, do I select now or after?
Yeah. Choose what you want.
Between those 2, I think I will go space opera.
Okay.
Yeah.
So no, Johnny's got space opera. And so since you're the ones with the mystery selections, we'll let you have a little more time. So now we're going to start out with Julian's pitch for the heist version of Wizard of Oz. Go.
All right, are you ready for this? Picture it. Banjos twanging in the distance, under the tune of an electric guitar, a little twang rustling through the desert wind. It's 1985. Dorothy, an orphan living in central Kansas in the mid-1980s. Her family farm is failing due to the corporatization of American farmlands, with the after effects of Reaganomics. As a result of this, the farm is about to be repossessed by the greedy banker, Miss Belladonna Gulch, while working with the billionaire land developer Henry Ounce, known as Oz, which is like a pun for ounce, O-Z, the CEO of Emerald City Development. He's a popular but shady figure, and he's a philanthropist known for his charitable donations, which is why they call him the Wizard. He also calls his fans the Munchkins. They want this land on Dorothy's farm because, unbeknownst to her and her family, there is oil beneath her land, and Oz and Miss Gulch are trying to take it from them. In a last-ditch effort to purchase the land, Dorothy hatches a scheme to rob both Ounce and Gulch during something called the Yellow Brick Festival that they're hosting in the downtown. They're using this as an opportunity because everyone's going to be out in the town and security in the bank is going to be really low. With her lucky red Converse shoes given to her by her sister, she gets her 3 cousins, Frank, a metal worker and craftsman, Lyman, a large but cowardly bouncer, and Baum, a computer whiz, and who becomes essentially kind of like the brains of an operation. They try to steal the money back from the bank so that they can buy their family farm back, and also find out later on in the story that there is oil underneath that will make them impossibly rich.
Oh, wow. What a pitch. Okay, let's go talk to the judges about this. Johnny, you still got some time. Keep it in there. Let's go talk to the judges. All right, Ryan, Andrew, you heard the first pitch for the heist version of Wizard of Oz. Let's start with you, Ryan. What did you think of that pitch?
Quite a clever pitch. Clearly, he thought this out heavily. I was quite happy to hear the pun surrounding Henry Ounce. I think that's one of the things that will appeal to my dad's side quite a bit. So well done there. The story itself is rather relevant to today's interests. Corporate greed being a big problem still. I could see this working well, although I see some glaring plot holes that will possibly have to be addressed, considering you're stealing money from the bank to pay the bank. That feels slightly disingenuous, but we'll see what happens in the next round there.
Okay, yeah. We'll see if he can explain that. Andrew, what are you thinking of Julian's pitch?
I'll tell you, I liked it because of how not only its elaboration on things, but just painting this picture of what this film would look like, specifically the era. The fact
I
that
didn't
we're
expect
setting it-
1985.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When I heard 1985, I'm like, oh, we already have a specific area because we're going, the original set in, the Dust Bowl era of Kansas. Now we're talking not modern, but modern-ish, or at least to the point where it's a little closer to modern times. And I like this kind of mid-1980s, all economic connection to the economics of the time, Reaganomics, politics, interesting themes there that you could go to. Kind of like what Ryan was saying, a little contemporary themes as well in terms of economic issues and people taking advantage of other people through economic means. I like, a good old-fashioned, devious land grab of a plot. That always seems to be something people fall back on, especially at the time. For some reason, I was thinking of Lex Luthor in Superman, how he was trying to grab land and just to get rich through grabbing land. But I was also thinking of the Beverly Hillbillies, where they find the oil beneath the land, and now was it the Cramptons? I forgot their names. They had to deal with the bank now in terms of like
the Clampets.
The Clampets, yeah, they had to deal with like the bank in terms of managing the land and stuff like that. But this is a more devious one. This is like, what if the bankers found out about it, and or the corporation found out about it and was wanting to steal it? So I like
as Ryan explained, we're gonna steal your money before you try to steal our money. That's what he's
kind of it.
Yeah,
and this idea of like robbing the bad guys to then pay the bad guys to get one up on them. You know what I mean? I like that kind of philosophy of it all. So I like this overall pitch. I like the setting. I like the overall plot.
Yeah.
All the puns also worked for me as well. So you got that connection back to the original, but it's not close enough to the point where you're like, where it's directly connected. It's almost like an homage.
Yeah.
And who doesn't like a good old-fashioned homage?
Exactly. I love it. I'm with you guys. You guys said all the good stuff. I don't need to say anything else until we get to the voting. So let's get back to it and see if Johnny's got something to combat that. All right. You had some good things to say, Julian, but
I'm happy, and I do realize that that might be a bit of a plot hole, but it is something that I thought about whenever I was making the plan in my head. I was thinking that somehow they would find a way to frame it that using the modern technology of the 1980s computers. They would find a way to make it seem like the missing money was stolen by or embezzled by one or the other. So
gotcha.
They would find a way to turn them against each other.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, you can keep expounding on it through the game. So let's see what Johnny's got. He is going to tell us about his space opera version of Wizard of Oz. Are you ready, Johnny?
Well, I'm as ready as I'm ever going to be. But let me tell you, my wife and I came up with a great body swap one over dinner tonight. But that'll have to save for another game someday.
All right.
Okay. Well, I think that some of my work has been done for me, because I think that we've kind of been recreating Wizard of Oz for almost a century in cinema already. So this is the story of a young girl living on a dusty planet with her Uncle Henry and Aunt Beirut. It's a dusty little sort of planet with they probably farm moisture or something, and there's like a sort of old gypsy man who lives a little close by who anyway, her name is Dorothy Roadwalker, Yellow Road specifically. But yes, so, things are hard for her, though. She dreams of going far, far away from her little planet where nothing much happens. And one day she even runs away from home. She meets this old gypsy man, and he tells her, it's like, well, I don't know, maybe you should go home. Maybe that's where you belong. And so she does. But wouldn't you know it, she gets sucked up into, there's like a space storm, one of those space storms, and she gets sucked up into a black hole, and she wakes up on another planet, and yes, she is lost in space, as you often find yourself. But she is greeted by some space witch or something. A good space witch, though. And she says, look, all you need to do is go to the Cloud City, the Green Cloud City, and there is a space wizard there who has the power to send you back to your home planet. So she's wandering around space. She gets a spaceship, of course. I mean, spacewalker, roadwalker is all fine and good, but we're zipping from planet to planet because that's going to be exciting, and she's going to meet all sorts of interesting people. She's going to meet like a droid woodsman who is made of metal, and then she meets what did I have for the a cowardly Wookiee. She meets he's like a furry alien, for lack of a better term. He's like part lion, part like gorilla, but it's a rich tapestry in this alien world. And yes, and hold on, I had something. So she's zipping around on these like sort of rainbow expressways through space that connect all these planets, and
rainbow connection.
Yeah, sure, why not? Yeah, I was maybe thinking like isn't there a rainbow? Like Dark Side of the Moon. You ever see that album cover? There's that sort of in space, and there's that rainbow. So yeah, she's on that thing.
So Pink Floyd is influenced. It's infused into this now.
Yes. Yeah. But she gets to the space wizard, and he says, "Well, I can send you home, but the person who has the space crystals that power our spaceship to get you there is Darth Witchy, and you must defeat her." And she goes to the Darth Witchy's planet and says, I have to get home. I have to get home to my auntie. I have to get home to my auntie. And then, of course, Darth Witchy says, no, Dorothy, I am your auntie. It's like, oh my God, how did we not see that coming? But everything gets worked out. She sprays her with some alien blood that's like acidic, and it melts her face off. It's pretty graphic for a kid's movie. And she gets to eventually she realizes that she was on her planet all the time. She was just like on the other end of it. It's a big planet. She always was home. And so she clicks her rocket boots together and then zips there, it flies there, and she realized that she never had to stray too far from her home to have a grand adventure.
Wow. Bravo, sir.
That sounds
Bravo.
like you spin it off into 11 movies and a multi-billion-dollar franchise.
Yeah, I think so.
Sounds like it has some room to work.
We're going to make some money with this one.
But we're going to see what the judges think, because that's what matters here. Andrew Ryan. So I'll start with Andrew here. Darth Witchy?
Indeed. Certainly sounds familiar. Certainly sounds like something one has heard of before. I'll say this: having to come up with this off of the top of one's head is never an easy task. No matter how much time you get prepared for, whether it's a day or 10 minutes, it really doesn't get any easier. And I have to say, just kind of riffing off the block, riffing just randomly is pretty cool. It's not an easy thing to do, but that being said, what a wild and crazy ride we just went on. It was wild and crazy. It was, it had twists and turns. It had drama. It had familial connections. It had space. It had an operatic setting, I would say.
It had rainbow bridges.
Travel, When I was thinking the Rainbow Connection, I was thinking Rainbow Road from Mario Kart. That dreaded road, which I have fallen off so many times in that video game. I'm sure many have had.
But
before.
I'm really hoping that Pink Floyd does the soundtrack for this movie.
So do I. I was thinking
I'm hoping. Yeah.
of a Pink Floyd soundtrack a la when Queen did it for Highlander back in the 80s, just to get more crazy with it. Because if you know about Pink Floyd's music, it's very trippy, it's psychedelic, spacey, if you will. It feels like you're in space when you go on it. It's probably a reason why a lot of people used certain hallucinogenic drugs and then listened to said music just so they could take a trip into space, if you will. And listening to this pitch was like taking a trip into space at times. Certainly with the characters' names, that witchy woman that was in this, just to get another musical reference in there.
That's an Eagles song. We're not going to get copyright stricken for saying an Eagles song in here. But Dorothy Road Warrior, or Dorothy Road Walker, sorry. Ryan, what'd you think of this pitch?
When I'm hearing Rainbow Road, the way that he was describing it, I was thinking of the Rainbow Bridge from Thor. Actually, it's
there you
transporting. Go. There you go.
Yeah,
good stuff. I like the Roadwalker pitch to start, and then undercutting that with a yellow one specifically is a really clever way to homage this. I could absolutely see this working. The way that these characters interact kind of lends itself to the drama filled. Kind of action on the surface, but more like personal connection and family below the surface, like these stories tend to lean into. So yeah, this is a pretty great pitch. I'm definitely wanting to hear more about the cowardly Wookiee and
Wookiee Gorilla, the Gorilla Lion,
the other things that we've got going on, because this is an expanding universe of characters that we could see just explode out of nowhere.
Well, sounds like Ryan might have said who he chooses. Are you going with Johnny Pitch?
I am not. I am going with the heist. I think the heist is the more promising one here.
Okay, so we got one for Julian. We'll go back over to Andrew. Which way are you leaning?
I am. Although I kind of understood what Ryan was just saying, this idea that this does actually have potential to be absolutely bonkers and crazy, and you can take this premise and go everywhere. But I do want to see more of the heist, because I feel like we can build off of that more, and it could get crazier if we work it right. So I want to see where that's going to go.
Yeah, I'll have to say, I mean, and it's, it's the advantage of having a little bit of prep, is that there was a little bit more color in there for this, no pun intended this time. Little bit more contextual, a little bit more oomph, a little bit more setting the stage with Julian's pitch. And I think that's what, of course, leads to, I think, him winning this round. So I agree with you guys. So that's a clean sweep on the genre round. So moving forward, this is Wizard of Oz as a heist film. Let's do it. Let's keep going. I'll see you guys in a little bit. All right. So let's move on with the heist version of Wizard of Oz into round 2, which is our director round. And in the director round, once again, these guys are going to have to prove that they know something about Wizard of Oz, and in this case, the director, Victor Fleming. Now, of course, there was like multiple directors on Wizard of Oz, but we are going to focus on Victor Fleming. He is kind of the primary credited director of this film. And in round 2, our trivia is a little different. We have 3 different categories of trivia. We have the Bylines Beware section that has 1 to 3 points, where you get a negative review of one of Victor Fleming's films, and they have to try to figure out through context clues what film I'm talking about with the review. We have Through a Viewfinder Darkly, which is I give them an image and a quote from one of Victor Fleming's films, and they have to figure out which movie I'm talking about. And then Director Under the Influence, which is things that are that have either influenced the director of the film or people that have been influenced by it. In this case, because Victor Fleming has so little to kind of get research-wise, get an understanding of who's been influenced by him, the questions are going to be more directed at films that were influenced by The Wizard of Oz. In this case, so
like Star Wars,
sure, yeah, maybe. So let's go into it. Of course, Julian won the round 1, so he's going to get the choice of which category he would like to go first.
Let's do Bylines Beware for 1 point.
Bylines Beware for 1 point. From Cinephile, they say, Fleming delivers a technicolor historical epic here that finds moments of production values and remarkable performances from Ingrid Bergman, but unfortunately lacks the dramatic power it needs to scare. To soar.
That's for me.
Whoever comes in first.
Was that Jekyll and Hyde?
Incorrect.
Ooh.
Damn.
This is going to be a Fleming movie automatically, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought I had it for a second.
I'm sorry. The last word was soar.
Oh, soar.
That's not scare.
I heard score. Oh, soar.
Because I know Bergman was in Jekyll and Hyde, and that's a horror movie.
Yeah.
Sure.
Johnny, could this be Soar? It's the laziest thing in the world. Whenever, box office reports, if Superman does well, it's like, oh, it soars to a. So it's got to be something having to do with flight. So I know Victor Fleming directed a guy named Joe. Is it Ingrid Bergman in that? I don't think it is, but that's my guess.
It's not. It is the 1948 film Joan of Arc.
Oh,
that was. I thought it was talking about scares.
Well, like I said, that was my fault. So, sorry.
No, you're all good.
But nobody got the point.
Cool.
So where would you like to go next?
Let's do same category, 2 points.
All right. It wants to be a grand story of love and adventure and the call of every and ever-increasing speed and height. But it's basically just Top Gun with 50 years earlier.
Johnny. Okay, wait. Okay, how about now I'll say a guy named Joe?
No.
No? Still no? Oh, that has some Top Gun elements in it.
Maybe.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, is it?
Go ahead if you have an answer.
I've not seen this movie, but my guess, whenever I was looking through some of his filmography, he did a movie called Test Pilot.
Oh, yes.
That is correct.
I knew it. Oh, as soon as I ceded it to you, it's like, it's Test Pilot, the other pilot movie of Victor Fleming's. I watched very recently, and yes, I made the same Top Gun allusion because it's kind of that.
Is it good though?
I kind of like it. Yeah, I like it more than A Guy Named Joe, which I've always liked. It. I don't know. It's kind of fun. But it really truly is Top Gun. And poor Spencer Tracy. He's just like he's only in there to die. He's just like the whole time. It's like, gee, he sure would like to be with Myrna Loy, I believe. And but no, he's got.
All right. So where would you like to go next, Julian?
Let's round it out. 3 points.
All right. 3 points. Bylines Beware. Essentially a prestige MGM monster movie, but the final product feels almost too polished and too afraid of its own genre to be fun.
Johnny.
Johnny?
I said my name.
Oh, wait, dude. I'm sorry. Did we have to wait until you
We have to wait
waiting?
till I'm done.
Oh, that's right. Sorry. That's my bad. I can see you.
Okay. I mean, I feel like I should give Julian some of the points if I get this right, but I too was aware of this Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. This is the Spencer Tracy version, right? Is the Fleming one?
That is correct.
Which, not the best. It's okay.
I like it a lot.
I like it. I kind of prefer Frederick March, maybe.
You can buy me a beer whenever I see you. That'll be.
All right. So, Johnny, where would you like to go next?
Let's do a director under the influence for 1 point.
All right. For 1 point, the references to The Wizard of Oz in this David Lynch film serves as a reminder of how America has changed.
Johnny.
Oh,
Johnny?
This would be Wild at Heart.
1990s Wild at Heart is correct.
Yes, although I watched that documentary where they basically posited every David Lynch film is The Wizard of Oz. It's like, well, let's not go nuts here.
Where would you like to go next, Johnny?
No, I like where we're at. Let's go director under the influence for 2 points.
All right. This 1946 Powell and Pressburger film took inspiration from Wizard of Oz with a twist. They chose to visualize the dream world in black and white and the real world in Technicolor. What is the
Johnny?
Ooh.
All right.
Yeah, me.
Yeah.
This would be A Matter of Life and Death, aka Stairway to Heaven.
That is correct. Johnny is leading 6-2. Still a lot of time. Here we go. Where would you like to go next?
Let's close out the category. Director under the influence for 3.
All right. In which Tim Burton film do we have the not-so-subtle reference to Wizard of Oz where we have 2 witch sisters? One lives in the western woods and the other lives in the east side of town.
Johnny.
Oh, frick.
Okay.
Gosh, I was running through the whole Tim Burton filmography in my head. It's like, ooh, I think you could make an argument for a lot of these, but you got pretty specific there, and I think we're looking at Sleepy Hollow with, who was it, Miranda Richardson? She's like twin witches or something?
That is correct.
The last great Tim Burton movie, maybe? I don't know.
Wow.
I disagree.
Oh, okay.
What about Dumbo? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. What about Dumbo?
Yeah. We got through the round, and Johnny pulled away, so he's going to get the choice of these predetermined directors. And they are Jonathan Demme, Michael Curtiz, or Quentin Tarantino.
Now this is tricky. These are 3 directors I love. I think that two of these are tough, though, because I think that the beauty of Michael Curtiz and Jonathan Demme is that they're not exactly pigeonholed by like distinct style. They have little flares here and there, then some commonalities between films that I think that you could have some fun with. But I think given the heist genre and some other elements that I might get to later, I think it's got to be Tarantino.
All right. Johnny's going to pick the... Go ahead, Joe.
I was just going to say that I also love Curtiz, him being the only contemporary on this list of Victor Fleming, who made my favorite film of 1939, which is his Robin Hood movie.
Ah, okay.
That's in my top 5 of all-time favorite films.
It's so good. I like the Seahawk a little better, though.
No.
Oh,
yeah.
Captain Blood.
You guys are supposed to be fighting each other, not being friends, okay?
No,
This is friendly competition.
I'm just kidding.
No, okay. We'll fight about whether Tim Burton has made a good movie this century or not.
Well, yeah. So, Julian, you have the choice of these 2 mystery picks.
Cool.
You either can pitch with Mel Brooks or George Miller.
Sure. Ooh. Oh, easy. Do I answer now?
Yeah.
As much as I love Mel Brooks, glad he's coming back at 200 years old to make Spaceballs 2. It has to be George Miller.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to give you a little more time since you get the mystery picks. So we're going to start out with Johnny, who is going to pitch us the heist version of Wizard of Oz with Quentin Tarantino directing. Give it to us.
Well, first off, I'm not going to get into casting because I know that's the next round, but, it's Quentin Tarantino. He is going to attract a lot of, interesting, colorful characters and stars, probably many from yesteryear. But, what is Tarantino going to bring to a Wizard of Oz heist movie? Well, I'll tell you one thing. Feet. Lots of feet. So many shots of these ruby slippers going on and off. And you bet your butt those feet are going to be real dirty. I mean, did I hear something about striking oil somewhere along the way? Oh, that oil's getting all over those feet. Oh, God, it's just going to get all gooey. But, I think that, at his heart, Tarantino is he does like a caper of sorts. Jackie Brown, that's a heist movie right there. And so, yeah, we're going to get a lot of characters having their little side stories here and there in the background, and then all coming together for a big to-do. Of course, we're going to have our version of Dorothy, the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Cowardly Lion walking in slow motion in a single line down the yellow brick road while we hear a song play. Lots of needle drops, and what better song for this than Little Green City? Little Green City. It's gonna get violent though. When the witch gets doused with water or oil or whatever it's going to be.
Now she is a banker.
That's true.
She's a banker, so.
But yeah, she is more of a Miss Gulch type banker. But I guess we're keeping some sort of magical realism in this, right? We're not totally sacrificing.
It didn't sound like it. Julian's pitch seemed more like it was the like a realism, there was a real life version. It wasn't
okay.
Really, there wasn't a magical element to it.
Okay, I caught some of that. I was furiously taking notes while he was pitching, so I may have missed a few things. But I do think that we're going to get a lot of good character actors in these roles. A lot of old television stars from the 70s are going to pop back, and careers will be revitalized. So maybe a witch doesn't get doused with water allowing her to shrink into brown sugar or whatever it is in the movie. I think that's the sugar thing is from the book. She is going to get sprayed with some sort of oil, maybe lit on fire. It's gonna get real nasty. Let's see, and the wizard, of course, given this Tarantino and he likes to deal in this world sometimes, let's make him a grand wizard of the Ku Klux Klan. Maybe he's a bad guy too. Even the people who we perceive as good people in this world are going to be revealed to have a real dark streak to them. So that's just the kind of stuff that you expect from a Quentin Tarantino movie. And feet, lots of feet. Oh, so much slippered shots.
All right, leading with the feet. I can't wait to hear that. If we get with this pitch, I can't wait to hear what the title of the movie is. Let's go talk to the judges, see what they're thinking about the pitch. All right, so Johnny starts us off with Quentin Tarantino directing this heist, Wizard of Oz. Ryan, are you a fan of feet?
No kink shaming here. I'm not into feet myself. However, this had to be a major plot point, and I'm so grateful that you went there. Without it, the plot would have been missing something extra. Basically, you did really well there. I don't really need to say much on this one, except I will say, as I believe the only one on the panel tonight that lives within 20 minutes of the Kansas state line. Mentioning the Grand Wizard aspect, I think, is one of the most brilliant points you could have made about this movie.
Okay, well, we got some. He's the expert. I'm not expert on Grand Wizards, but expert on Kansas. Okay, so it seems like he's kind of digging it. Andrew, are you digging it?
Yeah, you know what? Johnny did bring up a lot of good Quentin Tarantino isms. Obviously, I'm going to agree with my friend Ryan here and say no kink shaming whatsoever. You're into whatever you're into, whatever the case may be. But that is a Quentin Tarantino ism. If you look at the history of his filmography, as jokingly as Johnny presented it, it is very much in there. I'm thinking of, there's this shot in Pulp Fiction. There's this shot in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood multiple times. Actually, he's not shy about it. It's perhaps it's most likely going to be in there in a Quentin Tarantino version of the movie, but also other Quentin Tarantino isms. This idea of bringing back, beloved cast members who or actors and actresses who did not get the shine in their careers that Tarantino believed they should have. I'm thinking of Robert Forster. I'm thinking of, so many others that he brought back, or so many homages to old school movies and TV stuff from the past, specifically 60s and 70s.
It's going to take inspiration from Wizard of Oz?
Probably from Wizard of Oz. If not, he's going to take inspiration from something from the era of movies that he liked and then twist it into his version of a Wizard of Oz heist movie. Because what's interesting is he hasn't quite done a heist movie specifically. he's done crime films, Reservoir Dogs, which I guess was a heist. They rob a bank.
It is.
We never really
You just
see
don't
how they
see
go
the
about it.
robbery. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we never see how he goes about it. He's dealing with other criminality in Jackie Brown, of course, where people are trying to like screw people out of money and stuff like that. Pam Grier's another actress that he brought back into the forefront. And he has a working relationship with a lot of other actors, that we know of. We're not doing casting yet, but I can almost see those people in his version of this movie in some type of way, whether it's a small role, whether it's a big role. We don't know until perhaps we get to the next round. We don't know that, but I like, because I like that a Tarantino version of a heist film because he could probably pull it off with a lot of great flair. I'm thinking of the action sequences in the Kill Bill movies. I'm thinking of course, there was the racial thing that that Ryan just hinted at and that Johnny had brought up. We saw that in Django Unchained, and we saw a little bit in The Hateful Eight. You know what I mean? So we've seen a lot of these things come up in a lot of Quentin Tarantino movies that he could use and infuse in his film. Interesting. So yeah, I can see this. I'm not going to dismiss it yet, but I'm curious what this George Miller pitch is going to be from
Same.
Julian, because it's going to be could perhaps be radically different than a Quentin Tarantino
This
film.
could really change things up right here. See with what this pitch is. So let's go see what Julian's got to say about George Miller. All right, guys. Johnny did it. Now, Julian, it's up to you. See what you can do here. Pitch your George Miller version.
Of course.
Heist of the Wizard of Oz.
It will have significantly less feet. I can add feet in it if he'll give me a leg up, or a foot up, if you will. But no, I think before I get into like the main meat and potatoes, I just want to say no film director alive has shot the desert better than George Miller. Need I say anything about the Mad Max movies? And while I respect the idea of Tarantino doing an idea such as this, it would definitely be more of a dialogue-driven affair. That's typically, the action is pretty good in his movies, but the dialogue and the lines people say is what carries a lot of it. What I imagine for this movie, and what I think George Miller will bring, is fast-paced editing. The editing in the George Miller films creates such a sense of tension and energy and kinetic force and violence. Like by the end of each third act in a George Miller film, it just feels like there's like this tension, this wire that's getting ready to snap. And I think that would lend itself perfectly to the tension that goes into the breakneck pace that goes into planning and executing a heist. And besides the editing and the cinematography of the Kansas desert, I think it could also really balance emotional scenes well, which I think this is an underrated portion of George Miller's storytelling, that he's a very emotionally forward storyteller. There's things like Lorenzo's Oil, and you can't even ignore the fairy tale aspects or the fantasy aspects or the folkloric aspects even in some of his stories. Mad Max is essentially just like a legend that's passed, a fairy tale almost, that's passed around in the wasteland. So I think all that combined, his the kineticism of his editing, and how he shoots action, how he is so comfortable filming in the desert, how he handles emotional scenes, which we could have emotional stuff between Aunt Em and Henry and the cousins. I think it is a much more cohesive pick to fit this genre of storytelling.
Well, can you describe a scene for me? Since a scene with some of the characters, help me visualize some of the
Oh, absolutely. In the final scene, she has her three cousins, which the subtle reference is that I named each of them one of the names of L. Frank Baum. They would each use their talents to find ways to distract the people at the festival, which would be the Cowardly Lion part. He would have to come over some form of a fright or fear that he has in order to gain this attention of this huge crowd. While during all this, the equivalent of the Scarecrow, the Brains, has to sneak past and hack into the bank's operation systems. and all this time Dorothy's like could be like crawling through like a vent, trying to get to different levels of the safe, or something. While the Tin Man is the one, they call him the Tin Man because he is an inventor, and he helps invent like a lot of the equipment. It's real like, backcountry, kind of rusty, shouldn't work but it does type of equipment for this heist. And the tension can come from the fact that, like, in any heist movie, there has to be moments where things go wrong. The lion character succumbs to his fright. The tech guy could be find like a firewall that he can't get past. Yeah. All of course, Tin Man's inventions and stuff will malfunction and break. And all this, like, as like, like we're getting closer and closer to them getting figured out.
All right. More details into this film. Let's go talk to the guys to see what they're thinking. All right, Ryan, where do we compared? I mean, I feel like maybe once again, I think Julian came with a lot of good details. I think he added some more details to this.
Yes.
But I do think maybe are we going for the right way? Which energy did you like more? I think maybe I'm leaning more towards Johnny on this one. Maybe. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, I got to be honest. I kind of want to see both of these movies. I know
Yeah.
that's an impossible pick here, but I think it would be really fun to see both of these specifically.
Yeah.
George Miller in 1985 specifically. I mean, we didn't say it was made in 85, but set in 85. So I'm placing it there in my mind at least. That we are getting him kind of in, I won't say his prime, because he's one of those rare directors with multiple primes, which isn't fair to humans.
Yeah.
But George Miller can do some very special things, and Julian touched on some of them here. I think it's a very interesting pitch. Sad about no feet, but yeah, we'll
maybe
see.
can cut. Probably could feet get cut off in the film. Probably, somebody's foot gets cut off at some point, maybe,
or hung by them at least.
Yeah.
Probably there's a lot happening. With either of these directors, you have something super interesting, and the thing is, I think both of these directors have this genre in their wheelhouse, and they both made some wise decisions about that. So, I want to know what Andrew thought.
Okay, all right, Andrew, what do you think?
It's interesting. I was expecting a little more grander.
I was gonna say more bombastic, a little
bombastic, because
I'm
thinking, because in my mind I'm thinking of George Miller. What have you done for me lately? And I'm thinking of Mad Max Fury Road. I'm thinking of just the energy in that film, the grandeur, the spectacle. Like Julian mentioned, I started off mentioning like no one shoots the desert like George Miller, which is very true. And while Kansas, I think Ryan could say this is not quite desert, but open prairie.
But it's in the Dust Bowl. It's the Dust Bowl.
Dust Bowl. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So there is wide open land, wide open landscape for George Miller to work. Now, you give George Miller that type of space to work with, and you can get some really awesome stuff. So that's kind of what I was leaning more towards, as opposed to kind of like a third act, which Julian was describing, seemed very small in scope, seemed almost Mission Impossible-esque, seemed almost...
I'm thinking more, it sounded more like Michael Mann to me. It sounded more like Thief.
Thief or Heat.
Like.
There are sequences in Heat where they're breaking into places and whatnot. It does seem more Michael Mannish than it did seem George Miller-esque. So that's why I hesitate a little bit to choose that, because I was expecting it to go a little more crazy. So it's a tough decision. I don't, Steven, where are you leaning?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with Ryan. They both have a lot of. I would see both of these movies, but I think Julian had some good choice. He had good, obviously took a lot of good things about what George Miller does, his editing style, his things like that. Them are all true things. But like you said, I think I was looking for a little bit more of it. That's why I asked him, like, describe a scene for me. And I was hoping that he would bring out like more of that bombastic, like describe a scene where something would happen that would show me like a little bit more of that side of George Miller that would make me kind of go over the top with it. But I'm leaning more towards Tarantino, because I think the flair of mixing in the heist with the dialogue you're going to get from a Tarantino script, the interplay between characters, and just the general vibes I think the Tarantino film might have is going to make this more of a fun heist film and not so much like a super serious one, which is not what I would like to see. I would like to see something a little bit more fun. So that's where I'm leaning is Johnny's Tarantino pitch. Andrew, which way are you going?
Yeah, I am leaning towards more the Tarantino vibe. I don't know. I that's the vibe I'm getting.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Tarantino.
Ryan?
Well, not that it matters now, but listening to the pitches, the one thing that won me over, which they were very, very close, but I think mentioning the needle drops for Tarantino was enough to pull me onto that side. I didn't mention that at the beginning because I wanted to see what else we can get from Julian, but specifically thinking of a 1980s set Wizard of Oz heist film with Tarantino needle drops makes my skin light up with prison right now because, man, I could not imagine the incredible moments that would lead to.
I have to agree. So another clean sweep, but this time on Johnny's end. So let's get back to the players and get into that recast round. This is where it's really going to get weird. This could go in a lot of directions. So we'll see it. We'll see in a little bit. All right. Well, Johnny, you pulled out the director round, so now it's tied up. You guys have both won one round apiece.
If it helps, Julian, I really want to see your George Miller movie. Although some would argue he's already made the perfect Wizard of Oz movie with Babe, Pig in the City. You know, they got the Yellow Road and everything.
Jeez.
And also, it wouldn't be super serious. You've seen a George Miller movie. It'd be cartoonish. It'd be funny.
I mean, sure.
Genie
but,
sex.
But yeah. I was hoping for just a little bit more descriptor on like more of his style and not so much just editing. Like in the cinematography, we get that, but they were both good pitches. I think Johnny's gave us a little bit more of an idea of the vibe of the movie, and I think that's why we mostly lean that way. So, but moving on to the cast round, this time the competitors will have 4 characters they have to recast. 3 of them are predetermined, and 1 is a mystery character. And they will once again get questions, this time about the cast of Wizard of Oz. But this time, they're not playing for anything other than the opportunity to make their opponent have to pitch with whatever actor they want. So, for example, if Julian wins the trivia, he can make Johnny pitch with whatever actor he wants at whatever time for whatever character we go to. He can just be like, stop. I want Johnny to pitch Dorothy as, Willem Dafoe is Dorothy.
That'd be awesome.
So sometimes it backfires. People do it, and it doesn't work out. So, but they can use it. They cannot use it. So we'll see what happens. So going into the trivia,
markers and paper, right?
That is right. I was going to say in this round they both get the chance to answer. And we got 5 questions, and if whoever has the most right by the end gets that advantage. If they both get all of them right, they both get the advantage. So we'll see what happens. Are you guys ready?
Yes, sir.
Ready.
Question 1. Judy Garland heard the same phrase in 2 movies, For Me and My Gal from 1942. An Easter Parade in 1948. In both, her love interest says, "Why didn't you tell me I was in love with you?" Name one of the 2 actors that were the love interests in either of the movies. Five seconds. All right. Johnny, what you got?
I went with her Easter Parade co-star of... Oh, hold on. I'm going to zoom in on this. I'm using my wife's iPad. I don't actually know how this works. I can get this... Okay, yeah, there it's coming into focus. That would be Fred Astaire.
That is correct.
Yes.
All right, well, Julian, what do you got?
I was really scared. I crossed out my first one because we were talking about Spencer Tracy a lot, which was wrong. But I also put Fred Astaire right there at the top.
I can't see it.
Hold on.
Bring it closer.
Fred Astaire.
Gotcha.
And
All
just
right.
for funsies, for me and my gal, that was Gene Kelly, right? I wasn't confident enough to go there, but I...
That is right.
Okay.
Oh, it was Gene Kelly. I knew that they worked together in Summer Stock. That was
Yeah.
her last MGM movie.
Yeah, I think I watched For Me and My Gal like within the last year. That is kind of an early one for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, Summer Stock, it's a bit more memorable.
Great movie.
Pairing of the two.
All right. So question 2. Frank Morgan was a member of the famous Irish Mafia, even though he wasn't Irish, whose original members included 4 other fellow Hollywood actors. Name one of them. 5 seconds. All right. Julian, what do you got?
Is it James Cagney?
James Cagney is one of them. That is correct.
That was
you
the
got,
only one. I knew that Cagney had some real life ties to some real life crime shit.
Well, it's not crime. It's just
Yeah,
it's like just a group of actors that
Oh,
commonality. Yeah. What you got, Johnny?
I am less confident. I was thinking Irish, and what I pulled out, although I don't think, I mean, he was a contemporary of them for sure. I don't know if he was hanging out with them so much. Okay. I went with Barry Fitzgerald.
Unfortunately, not on my list of original members. The other members were the many times said in this podcast, Spencer Tracy.
Oh!
Makes sense.
Frank McHugh and Pat O'Brien.
Oh, Pat O'Brien, of course. What silly me.
All right. So now we move on to question 3. Margaret Hamilton has appeared in 2 films that have been selected for the National Film Registry by the Library of Congress as being culturally and historically and aesthetically significant. One of them is The Wizard of Oz. What is the other one that is a 1943 William Weller film?
Oh.
I remember, if this is correct. I know this because I think I know this. It's the only other Margaret Hamilton thing that I know about.
Okay. All right. Johnny, what you got?
Oh,
Are you? Go ahead. Go ahead.
Writing it now. I think, I am not positive because the year was throwing me off. It's like, wasn't that a little later or something? But I'm going to go Oxbow Incident.
That is correct.
Oh. Whew.
All right.
Oxbow Incident, baby.
All right.
You know, she's one of those actresses that I find when I watch classic films, I see her pop up more than I expect her to, and yet I can never remember what those films are. That's the only one that, like, you know, really screams out like, oh yeah, that's another Maggie Hamilton.
Wasn't she a kindergarten teacher?
I believe she was, yeah.
All right. Question 4. The owner of Toto, the Carum Terrier in The Wizard of Oz, officially changed his name to Toto after the release of the film. What was the dog's original name? All right, 5 seconds.
Is this the same Toto that blessed the rains down in Africa?
I think so. I think
Okay.
it is.
I want to make sure.
Yeah. All right, Julian, what you got?
I got Crypto the Super Dog.
Close, but no,
Dang.
Unfortunately not. Johnny?
I just watched a movie a few weeks ago that, like, I think it was on Noir Alley even with Eddie Muller, and he did a whole thing of like, oh, and look, Toto to the dog, in a movie just a few years before Wizard of Oz, and he said the name. I think it because I remembered it being remarkably similar to Toto. Was it Tiny? Tiny?
Close. Terry.
Yeah, that.
Yeah. From Terry to Toto.
That's the name of the biography.
Yeah, so it's a long one. He actually played in a lot of other films, though.
Yeah.
So, but all right, we are down to our last question. So, Johnny, if you can get this one, you tie Julian, and you both get the advantage. But if you don't, Julian runs away and gets that advantage over you. So, here's question 5. Before becoming an actor, Charlie Grapeone, Uncle Henry, traveled around the world with the famous P.T. Barnum circus doing what?
That's a deep cut.
Had to be pretty deep in it. Unfortunately, the cast of this movie is not like, super like wide. They're gonna have to be deep cuts.
I was gonna say.
Yeah. All right, Johnny, you got anything?
I do. My initial instinct was to go clown because, he has that kind of look about him, but I wanted to do a big swing here. And I'm thinking of Dorothy walking along the fence on that pigsty and falling in, and I'm thinking it was an homage to her Uncle Henry himself, and I went tightrope walker. He was a clown, wasn't he? Of course he was a clown.
It's tough because...
/ trapeze artist.
Well, then that's... I was going to say correct. Because he's an aerialist.
Aerialist is kind of...
trapeze artist was the... Yeah, but yeah, it's essentially the same job. So yeah.
I also guessed trapeze.
There you
He
go.
flies through the air with the greatest of ease.
Well, Julian kept hold, and he won the trivia, so he gets to get that advantage. So look out, Johnny. He might just throw it on you.
I don't doubt it. The important thing is I didn't embarrass myself.
You didn't, man.
I don't
You
know.
did
That Barry
great.
Fitzgerald. That was a dumb answer.
You did great.
Of course, it's
I was
Pat
gonna say
O'Brien.
I was. Whenever you said that he worked at P.T. Barnum, I thought it was going to be something really unremarkable, and you're going to be like, "Oh, he actually shoveled the."
He was the shit. He was the shit
Yeah.
shoveler. Yeah,
Yeah,
Sold
and
popcorn,
that's
maybe.
perfect for a Kansas farmer in the 30s.
it is true. So now we are going to go through 4 different characters and recast them. And of course, remember, this is the heist version of Wizard of Oz directed by Quentin Tarantino. Take that inspiration however you want to. The 3 characters we know we were going to recast are Dorothy Gale, the Wicked Witch of the West, and the Cowardly Lion. And when we get to the 4th character, I will let you know. It'll be a surprise. So starting with you, Julian, who would you like to cast as your Dorothy Gale?
I was thinking about this because just a month ago, I watched one of my favorite road movies that also involves a lot of the desert, which was Thelma and Louise. And I was thinking Gina Davis as 80s Kansas Dorothy. I think would be really good. I think she plays she can play an innocent character really well, but I also think that she can play someone that's been really hardened by life, but still maintains a bit of that naivete that I think is indicative of a character like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz.
And so how would the you can keep going with your pitch. How would the Tarantino influence go in there?
Well, obviously she has nice feet. But no, she's also is an amazing actress, and I think that she could be able to translate Tarantino's snappy dialogue, because the dialogue is pretty snappy in something like Thelma and Louise. It goes back and forth a lot, and I think whenever we get to this banter between characters, that's going to be inevitable in a Tarantino script, because he's going to write the thing too. I think Gina Davis will be able to bring and convey those words with the right amount of energy and wit and sarcasm that Gina Davis can, I think, pull off flawlessly.
And just to establish the Dorothy character, what is her? We've talked about the other characters and what their roles are, but what's Dorothy's kind of role other than kind of be the spearhead of this thing? What is her kind of place in the heist?
She's the one that gets the idea in the first place, and kind of like an Ocean's movie, she's the one that gathers her help, which would be like the equivalent of the Tin Man, the Lion, which are her cousins, to make sure to, like, steal this money so that they can afford to save the farm. And during this event, she'll come across like the insanity of this world that's unfolding before her. If we're going with like the Grand Wizard of the KKK idea, there can be a sword in there. There's definitely going to be a gunfight. It's going to end with the big tension is going to be all three of them with some kind of obscure weapon, probably made by the Tin Man, to fight off the goons and escape.
Okay.
So she's the one that essentially is the gets the idea to save her farm, and formulate this heist to begin with as a way to help out her aunt and uncle and also pay respect to her mother and father, because Dorothy doesn't have parents.
All right. Well, that sounds great. Johnny, what have you come up with as your Dorothy?
Well, what do we know about Tarantino? He likes to resurrect a retired star. That might end up being a theme in some of my choices, but one of the ones who, she was a huge star, but never kind of went the distance. She retired young, and sometimes old QT likes to take someone who hasn't been in a movie in 40 years and put them in front of a camera again. Now, that's not exactly possible right now, but if we're going to go back in time, let's go to an actress who really wants this role, really wanted to fight for it. I'm going Shirley Temple. Now, I know what you're thinking. Shirley Temple really tried to get Dorothy. I think she was too young. She was too cute. She made a competitive film, a competitor film, The Bluebird. It's just awful. It's supposed to be her Wizard of Oz. Oh, it's a pretty rough one. But I'm not going with cute little bright eyes, good ship lollipop Shirley Temple. No, to be in a Tarantino heist, Tarantino wants someone who's a little has a bit of a dark streak and a chip on her shoulder too about losing the role the first time. So I'm going young woman, 19-year-old Shirley Temple from films like The Bachelor and the Bobby Soxer or Fort Apache. She's a little older, she's a little wiser, and one of the reasons Shirley Temple, I think, went away and retired from acting was because she wasn't cute anymore. She was kind of bitchy, which I think is going to be just Tarantino's speed for this character. This woman who is going to go on this adventure of this heist and this ringleader. And but yeah, so she can play the goody two shoes girl, oh, I'm so innocent. Oh, how will I ever get home? How will I ever steal all this fortune or whatnot? But we know that little Shirley has I don't know, just a little dark side under that surface.
Right. Shirley Temple versus Gina Davis. I can't wait to see what the guys say. Let's see. All right. Well, this is a titan matchup for this Dorothy role. Gina Davis versus Shirley Temple. Andrew?
Yeah.
Who's got the better feet? That's where we got to start.
Well, I won't comment on that, but I will comment on how big of a swing it was for Johnny just to do that, and then convincingly back it up with two movies I immediately thought of when I was thinking of an older Shirley Temple. Because when everybody thinks Shirley Temple, which I know why you guys reacted, you think of the cute little girl dancing Shirley Temple, very precocious, just a lovely, bubbly child on screen, captured the hearts of everybody.
Half of me wanted him to just have her as a young girl in this movie.
Everybody knows that Shirley Temple. That's literally when everybody thinks of Shirley Temple, that's what they think of. They don't think of the teenage Shirley Temple, the young adult Shirley Temple, who did try to make a go of a career later on, but then just kind of decided just to leave the fame and all of it behind at a very rather young, early adult age. But I was thinking immediately The Bachelor and the Bobby Soxer, which stars one of my favorites of all time in Cary Grant. I was thinking of Fort Apache, which is a John Ford cavalry western, which is actually really, really great. Henry Fonda's in that film, as well as John Wayne. And it's a more serious movie dealing with, wartime struggles and drama and stuff like that. So if people haven't seen that movie, check that movie out. But I thought this was inspiring casting by Johnny. I'm a fan of it. I'm a fan of it.
All right. It sounds like he's leaning towards Johnny's pick. Let's see what Ryan's thinking.
This is probably the toughest decision yet. I think both of these were really great choices. I think considering what we got from Gina Davis when she was much more active, I think she could have easily been somebody that stepped in and pull off a really nice leadership role here. Gave some of that really great like back and forth quips that Tarantino dialogue is known for. Now, Shirley Temple would do it probably with a bit of a chip on her shoulder, which is necessary if you're coming with that badass sort of attitude here. But I gotta be honest, I kind of think Julian is right here. I think Gina Davis fits this a little bit better than Shirley Temple. I think Shirley Temple is really, again, just like Andrew said, very inspired casting. I just think the attitude is where we lose it here. And I think Gina's got it properly lined up, at least what we've seen good examples of. I think Shirley Temple would have something to prove, so it might be more of an awards play to cast her. But I think to make a better movie, I think Gina Davis is the way to go.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Gina Davis could certainly handle the Quentin Tarantino dialogue probably better, could handle the physicality probably better. We saw her in A League of Their Own. We've seen her in doing action movies. We've seen her do various things.
Yep.
The only reason I hesitate a little bit about Gina Davis is for some reason it's too close to Uma Thurman. And Uma Thurman, if you can't get Uma Thurman, why would you know what I'm saying? Like
Sure.
it's too close to what we've seen from a Quentin Tarantino actress in his films before. That's why I kind of lean more towards the outlier pick, if you will. Steven?
I got you. I agree. But and I think I do agree that the Shirley Temple was an inspired pick. Like I said earlier, I think the only thing that would have made it better for me is if you would have said, "Hey, this is the young Shirley Temple." I think that would have made his pick a lock for me.
Well, he did. He said she was 19.
Well, yeah, but I mean like the young Shirley. I mean like the child Shirley Temple.
She's the criminal mastermind.
And she's the criminal mastermind of this whole heist. I think would have been a more fun version of this. But if he's aging her up, then it now becomes more of a competing based on acting and like who I think can really handle it more. And I agree, like Gina Davis is just such an accomplished actress, and I think she can do so much. I'm a big fan of hers. And Shirley Temple, I have less to work with, and what would have worked for me if she was the young one, because then it would have just been fun, just to see a child doing a heist with these crazy other people, cousins that are older, and trying to save the farm.
You know what I'm thinking? I was thinking, like Shirley Temple as if she was Hit Girl from Kick-Ass, and she's
if it was
like
that age,
being that active.
That if that would have worked for me, but that's not what he pitched. He pitched an older one. So I'm going to have to lean Gina Davis on this one. So, all right. So Julian gets Gina Davis and he gets the first character. So let's move on to the next one. Thanks guys. We'll be back in a second. All right.
The important thing is that the important thing is we went redhead on this. I did make a point to say she was 19 just because of all the foot shots. I didn't want to run the risk of going into icky territory, but
hey,
otherwise I'm on board with Gina Davis. I love her. We don't see enough of her. Give that woman a fresh role ASAP.
Yeah, I mean, look, I agree. We don't have to give, if it was the we could just gotten the feet shots to all the cousins,
But I love the idea of the criminal mastermind being a little bratty child. Andrew, I think, said hit girl. Because there's nothing more terrifying and loathsome than a real bratty child actress. You just know that she has a few tantrums in her.
Yeah, and you don't see Tarantino work with kids. So, it would have been an interesting thing.
I almost went with Julia Butters because I'm not a big fan of child actors, but I did think, in general, by and large. But I thought Tarantino got a really good performance out of her in that Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And it's like, oh, maybe.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Julian gets the first one. Now we move on to the Wicked Witch of the West. Julian, what is going to be your choice?
When I think of 80s businesswoman aesthetic, I think tall, slender, sharp features, sharp business suit, shoulder pads. It's the 80s. And whenever I think of someone with that kind of striking features that could still play like a despicable character, but still also be kind of beautiful at the same time, I gotta think of Lady Galadriel herself, Cate Blanchett, as the Wicked Witch, as Miss Gulch.
We're going all redheads with this. I love it.
All redheads.
You gotta make sure the Technicolor pops,
Yeah.
All right. Well, tell us about Cate Blanchett. Why is she perfect for this role?
Because even though I think the movie was just a little mid, I think her performance as the evil stepmom in Kenneth Branagh's Cinderella was inspired casting. She tells so much about her character just by silhouetted lights, of her eyes peeking through. And she has this, she's thin as a pencil, but she has this power in her stride and how she delivers lines. And also hearing her with a Kansas accent would be really, really funny. And I just think the tenure of and the range that she's able to do. She's done action, she's done fantasy, she's done comedy, she's done everything. I think playing a sleazy, but still clean corporate businesswoman that wants to rip this farm from beneath this poor Kansas family, I think is a perfect fit for Cate Blanchett.
Tell me, just give me one moment with her. What's something she, because she is playing, kind of a sleazy banker. So give me a moment with her in the film where she takes some action.
Oh yeah, the first time, in the movie, she in the original Wizard of Oz, Miss Gulch rolls up to tell her that tell the family that's give me the dog, I'm gonna kill the dog. I want a similar scene where Cate Blanchett struts in, and she calmly sits down. It starts out nice and calm. She tries to lure them in, being like, "Hey, I'm your friend. We're trying to help you. We're trying to get this land from you." And then whenever they initially are just well, I think we thought about it long and hard, but we're gonna keep the farm. And then we get just a shot of her sitting there, and there could be just the slightest shift in her face as those elven eyes just narrow, and then it turns into you have two choices, you back alley hick. You're either going to give me the farm on my terms, or I'm going to slowly but surely gut every bit that's left out of this Dust Bowl nightmare that you call a house. All while hiding behind this cheddar grin, barely even raising her voice.
It almost sounds like you're. It's almost like the There Will Be Blood, Daniel Day-Lewis character type.
Yeah, a Daniel Plainview type character. And then whenever
I drink your milkshake.
I drink your oil. And of course, we've all seen Lord of the Rings. She doesn't wear any shoes in that movie. We feet shots. We know exactly what we're working with.
All right. I like it. I like where it's going. All right. So, Wicked Witch of the West. Johnny, what you got?
Okay. As I previously stated, Tarantino likes to resurrect careers. Well, he's going to do more than just resurrect a career with this one. You know, there was an actress, I think a great actress, who was only just starting to come into her own in her last like decade or so, and that would be someone who I would have loved to have seen another 10 to 20 years of, and that would be Natalie Wood, another child actress who was aging into a confident, strong woman. And I think that when she died in, I think, 81 or so, she was just starting to take on these kind of, nasty, floozy roles, and and maybe was something of that herself. But I could see her being like a real strong, bitchy woman that, and I think that Tarantino would love to kind of like say, hey, remember Natalie Wood? Well, she's back, and she now has that patented Tarantino branding. And what also do we know about Natalie Wood? She doesn't want to get wet. She it's also water is her greatest weakness, just like a witch might be. So that works on multiple levels. The metaphor of it all, like, oh gosh, Natalie Wood and water again, her greatest foe, that and a coke-addled Christopher Walken, her real murderer. I mean, look, I know that we're I very nearly went with like a Shirley MacLaine or a Lauren Bacall, someone who we knew could do that like boozy, brassy dame into adulthood. And yeah, this requires a little more imagination to think of what Natalie Wood might have been like at like age 50 or 60. But I think she was like kind of moving in that direction, that like she was kind of sexy, kind of sassy, kind of mean. And we just didn't get to see that role from her. So that's one that I would like to create for her.
All right. Wow. Natalie Wood. I can't wait to see what the guys think. Let's see what they're thinking. All right. Julian and Johnny have come at us with two more picks here. We have Natalie Wood from Johnny, and I'm sorry, I'm blanking for some reason. What was Julian's pick? Because the Natalie Wood pick threw me for a loop.
Shirley Temple.
No, it wasn't Shirley Temple.
Oh man. Oh gosh, that was pretty funny.
Oh man. What was Julian's pick again? I'm sorry.
Kate Blanchett.
Kate Blanchett. Yes, I'm sorry. I had a brain fart.
Redhead
the redheads are all over this place. Andrew.
Yes.
What are you thinking of? Which one?
This is a really tough choice for me because these are two of my favorite actresses, like of all time. Kate Blanchett being probably my favorite living actress, and Natalie Wood just being one of my favorite, classic actresses. Someone who did obviously pass away tragically, and what's interesting is Natalie Wood is another inspired pick from Johnny because this is someone that I think Tarantino would have loved to work with. Someone he probably watched, throughout her career in the 50s and 60s. She was in such great films as like West Side Story and Splendor in the Grass, and she was in, was it Bob Carroll, Ted and Alice? I think that was the movie. And yeah, so that is something that's fascinating to me because she could play this role, specifically this businesswoman type of role. You can envision her, if you know what Natalie Wood looked like. You can envision her in this role and as a steely character. It would work. Kate Blanchett can play it as well because we've seen Kate Blanchett play a similar type of role. What's interesting is I was waiting perhaps for Julian to mention one of her more recent roles in the movie Tar, where she was incredibly egotistical and incredibly mean at times. Heck, I think in that movie she was like cussing out a child. I mean, she's incredibly mean in that movie. And like super egotistical and all that kind of stuff. So this is a really almost razor's edge that you could go either way and still get a good role, a good performance from this. And they would both be right, really. Man, it's tough. It's really tough. I don't know which way I'm leaning quite yet because they're both so good.
Okay. Well, let's see if Ryan can persuade you in any direction. What you thinking, Ryan?
I'm not going to be able to persuade you with this one, trust, because I'm having all the exact same feelings myself. This is one where it's a toss-up for like the best reasons. I think that these are very complementary choices in a few different ways. If anything, I think that we get an opportunity at roles that both of them either never had a chance to get, or a resurgence is needed, perhaps in the way that the dynamics of this film could draw even more out of these two incredible actors. Honestly, just thrilled to see either one of these performances. I think that one of them, because we have to use our imagination a little more than the other, it's a little difficult, but I'm a sucker for humor, and I got to admit, I think the water joke is maybe leaning me to pulling up into Johnny's court on this one.
Yeah, I was gonna say his was it Brainstorm was the reference. I think that's the film. Yeah, I thought that reference that was good.
Yep.
So the one thing, and of course this is just a matter of maybe my preference, but I think being that Tarantino is the director on this film, and as he pitched with, like he's going after these very kind of obscure, great actors, and Natalie Wood would be a more obscure actor that, I mean, not obscure, but like would be an actor he would want to work with for sure. Like, I think like he's always going, I'm thinking of something like, what's the actor from Jackie Brown, the male actor in that?
Robert Forster.
Robert Forster. Like a Robert Forster type pick where he's gonna bring him back, and they're gonna play in this role, and it's gonna be understated but great. And I think, also like I don't know if I want to see a Cate Blanchett play like this character. Like I feel like she might be too big of an actress for this role.
Yeah.
I don't know.
She may be too commanding. She's too good. Not too good in the sense like, oh, she's too good for this role. Too good in the sense like Cate Blanchett can command a whole film. Like she leads a whole film.
Yeah.
And in this at least this heist version, I'm assuming that the main banker guy is the one who's the true evil Lex Luthor of it all.
The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, almost like the bad evil Wizard of Oz banker guy. Although if she's playing this kind of wicked witch, she's not really. She is really the main antagonist. It's tough because we're just kind of hypothesizing what a movie's going to look like, so we don't know who we're basing it off of what we assume from the original film, so we don't really kind of know how the dynamics of the characters work in this film. But Cate Blanchett is a very commanding actress, and Natalie Wood is very good too. But I feel like Natalie Wood could play it down a little bit to the point where it would still work, but wouldn't be too commanding of a performance. So that's why I kind of agree with what you're saying. And like I said, I'm also thinking of Jennifer Jason Leigh, who was in The Hateful Eight, kind of bringing her career back. And she's a fantastic in that film. So it feels like it fits within Tarantino's mindset more to do Natalie Wood. That's just me.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm leaning. I do like Cate Blanchett for like if this is still going to be an over the top performance, I think Cate Blanchett would be great. She would really she could be stern and everything, but the way he's describing him is going to be more methodical. Right. It's going to less the over the top Witch of the West and more methodical. So I think I want to go Natalie Wood because I think that feels like a Tarantino pick. Over something like big star, movie star. So that's where I'm going. Andrew, you're leaning that way?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yep.
All right.
Both great choices, by the way.
They are.
Incredible.
I love Cate Blanchett to the point where I just bought Where'd You Go, Bernadette, which I guess I may be the only person I know who owns that movie now.
All right. Well, let's get back to the players and get to the next character. All right. Good
Where'd
pick.
you go, Bernadette? Where did I go 45 minutes into that movie? Walked out of the theater is where I went.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, no, I don't do that often, but I think I did it that afternoon. Ooh.
Wow.
But otherwise, Cate Blanchett, she can do no wrong. I forgot she was in Cinderella, and I also didn't remember loving that movie, but of course she was amazing in it. She always is. Is she ever bad?
Not really, no.
Yeah.
But
unfortunately, she was also in the Borderlands movie. But
Oh yeah.
that has more
yeah.
to do with Eli Roth and trying to adapt that.
Yeah.
I'll take your word on that one.
All right. Well, now we are down to our third character, which is going to be the Cowardly Lion. And I believe, as Julian described, he is like a bouncer type. That is kind of the muscle of the group. So, but he's also, he's kind of a coward. So, I can't wait to see where this goes. Johnny, you won this last pitch, so you get to be the first one to choose.
Okay, I am going another bit of a redemption arc here. Because there was a man who was in Wizard of Oz. He shot scenes. I'm talking, of course, about Buddy Ebsen, the original Tin Man. And unfortunately, he had an allergic reaction to the silver makeup. He almost died. I think it actually gave him health problems for the rest of his life. And so he bowed out of that. And, but people forget that he was a musical theater actor, a song and dance man, and then went on to star in shows like The Beverly Hillbillies and then Barnaby Jones. And I'm sorry, did I just mention two, television shows from the 60s and 70s? Gee, which director likes to cast actors from old television shows, particularly cop shows? So I'm thinking a Barnaby Jones era Buddy Ebsen, where he's a little, craggy, he's a little, worn down, and I think that he can convey both the heavy of it, he can be a bit of a tough guy, but he's also kind of old, kind of out of touch, out of his, depth. I'm thinking a little like Robert Forster, sort of in that same realm, but no, I'm thinking that old shaggy dog of Buddy Ebsen in the 70s, and, you got that symmetry between him in the original Wizard of Oz and now the new Wizard of Oz. He's back, baby. This time, no face paint required. So, and, I think that he can play both the sort of darkness of the Barnaby Jones-esque side of things, the crime of it all, and then also the cuddly, lion-esque Jed Clampett of it all. He was a funny guy, very talented, very underrated actor, if you see him in those old movies sometimes. So yeah, why not? Buddy Ebsen, you're back in.
Oh man, another obscure choice from Johnny. You'll learn this about Johnny. He loves his obscure picks.
Well, I almost went Snagglepuss, but I got in trouble last time. I did a sort of fictional persona. So,
yeah.
But has the Burt Lahr element there.
All right. Well, go ahead, Julian.
Well, I was saying, if you're choosing Snagglepuss, I'm choosing Snarf from the Thundercats.
Oh.
No. Were you saying something, Steven?
Your turn. Your turn.
We need someone who was big in the 80s, someone that's been in multiple Tarantino movies, someone who looks great in a tank top and a pair of jeans with a full head of hair, a lion's mane, if you will. Someone that can play both an action hero, but at the same time go right into the buffoonery, a la things like Big Trouble in Little China. I'm thinking Kurt Russell as the Cowardly Lion. And for all the reasons that I mentioned before, the best hair in Hollywood history. He can do he has the intimidating presence of Snake Plissken from Escape from New York. You can give him a beard like in The Thing. But the performance that I'm leaning on most is him from Big Trouble in Little China and actually the movie Sky High. Because he's someone that, yeah, it's true. Because he plays someone that's big and imposing, but someone that will do anything for his family. Which is what he wants to do in this movie. And in terms of being the intimidating person, but also a bit of a buffoon, Big Trouble in Little China is that whole movie. All he does in that movie is fall over and find things that he doesn't understand, and he's terrified of them. So I think between the looks, how he works with Tarantino, and how he reads Tarantino dialogue, I think he's been in 3 movies of his. But I think he's the perfect cast to play the burly but silly Cowardly Lion type character.
All right. Kurt Russell versus Buddy Upson. I can't wait to hear what see what everybody thinks. All right. It feels like a prize fight here. Ryan, where are you leaning on this one?
I got to be honest. I apologize in advance. I'm not going to have much of a feeling on Buddy Upson. I don't have a whole lot of history with him. That being said, I really like the idea of the historical pick, the redemption arc, the story.
Yeah, I
there.
like that idea too. Yeah.
It's a really compelling narrative to craft the marketing campaign behind. But I definitely want to see Kurt Russell playing the Cowardly Lion. This one's not even close to me. I think that he wins this hands down. He can be our main actor, spelled Mane, and this is done in a way that I think the win was sealed here the moment he said the two just most beautiful words ever uttered on this show, because this is the first night of the show. And those are the words "sky high." This is incredible casting based on that reference alone. And if you had not chose that as the actual reference point, I may have leaned towards the historical narrative, but Sky High literally saved you. Incredible choice. Julian wins this 100%. And if you go different, Stephen, you will be haunted in your dreams.
Oh, okay. Well, jeez.
Yeah, this is almost. Well, yeah, it is tough to go obscure. Buddy Ebsen, for I guess those of you listening, watching, whatever the case may be, I had a Beverly Hillbillies reference earlier. He plays, Jed Clampett in the Beverly Hillbillies, which is kind of the only frame of reference I have for him. But he was in a bunch of other movies and things like that throughout his career. His last ever credit actually was doing a voice of a character for one episode on King of the Hill, which ironically just got a revival in 2025. I just thought that was a little interesting, but his last credit was 1999. So with that frame of reference, but if we're going with, to take this more seriously, to going with this type of setting, this type of movie, this type of atmosphere that this type of movie's given, I think Kurt Russell would fit right into it. Even without referencing Big Trouble in Little China, which of course was done in the 80s, even without referencing Escape from New York, which was also done in the 80s, so it already gives you that Kurt Russell 80s aesthetic, which that he was kind of pretty big. Of course, The Thing in that great film from the 80s, one of the best movies of the 80s, one of the best movies perhaps of the last 50 years. It's fascinating, kind of how high his star was in the 80s when you think of Kurt Russell. And Sky High being a more recent example. And by recent I mean the 2000s, which is really not that recent ago.
It is now. It
is.
It actually is now, Andrew. We're
far away Sky High was what, like mid 2000s? Yeah, it was like 20 years ago already, which is kind of crazy to me when you think about it. But yes, Kurt Russell, specifically with that 80s mane of hair. I was also struggling. What is the third Tarantino project that he worked on? Because we have Death Proof, we have The Hateful Eight.
Yeah.
I don't know what the third one is.
Death Proof.
Well, I mentioned Death Proof.
Oh, wait,
Death
no, I'm
Proof,
sorry. Yeah, sorry.
Death Proof, Hateful Eight. I'm not sure what the third one is.
I don't know if there is a third one.
Okay. Okay.
We'll find out, I guess, in a minute. Oh, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He is in that.
Oh yeah, he plays the one actor. I remember now.
Oh yes,
yeah.
He's okay. Yeah, when DiCaprio is doing the acting.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense.
He's doing that acting.
When DiCaprio is doing the acting,
when DiCaprio is doing the acting. Well, it's weird because DiCaprio is acting.
A movie about acting.
Yeah, he's playing an actor in a movie, so he's acting, and then he's acting in the movie too. It's like Inception, really, if you think about it. It really is.
Who was in Inception? Okay.
But I mean, it isn't specified, but he is kind of like the muscle, and it ain't specified that there's a specific that's like a wheelman. Maybe he's the wheelman, and like we said, Death Proof. He does drive a really cool car in that movie.
He does.
That also is in there too. So.
Yeah, in the Hateful Eight, he's a bounty hunter. He's the one. Is he a bounty hunter? Or he's a lawman of some kind, where he's taking in Jennifer Jason Leigh's character, and they get stuck in his cabin in the woods, basically. But I think Kurt Russell fits this role really, really good, because even if we're going with the whole cowardly aspect of the Cowardly Lion, he could pull that off too, because he could give that aesthetic of, like you said, muscle shirt, he was, credible physique
Like-
in the 80s,
Yeah, like
beautiful
Tango,
hair,
like
but
Tango
he's
and
also a
Cash.
coward.
Yeah, like Tango and Cash, like where he's like sarcastic and he's like, I don't, he can be like, yeah, I'm for it, but not like you can tell he's like trying to back out of it.
Yeah, but
He's
when
like,
push comes to
always-
shove,
Yeah.
he's trying to figure out ways to get out of being the muscle. Like
Yeah.
he's like, oh, what if we just talk to them instead of start punching people?
Yeah.
Something like that.
I could also see him getting thumped on the nose and having that worked perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
exactly.
like his weakness is his nose. Like it's his Achilles heel.
Dorothy hates water, and or the Wicked Witch hates water, and Cowardly Lion hates getting hit on the nose. Everybody's got to have a part to play in this. It's like it sounds like M. Night Shyamalan should do this, actually. But all right. I think we're all unanimous on this one. Kurt Russell for our Cowardly Lion. So let's get back, and I'll have to let the guys know what their mystery pick is. So here, see you here in a second. All right, so Julian gets the pick. I'm sorry, Johnny. I think Kurt Russell was just kind of just.
I knew I lost that the second he opened his mouth and said Kurt Russell. It's like, oh, obviously, of course, that's too perfect.
As a film nerd and someone that wants to be a film historian, I love the deep cuts. And I played it a little safe with that one because the last time I did a bit of a deep cut, I did Andrew Robinson.
Oh, that's right.
But I was like, no, Kurt Russell is perfect.
Yeah, and good call on Sky High. My nephew, 10-year-old nephew, just saw that for the first time. He has declared it to be his favorite movie. So,
It was a seminal film for me growing up, man.
yeah,
As someone that
it's a good one. It's
fun.
All right, so doing our mystery pick, and sometimes I come up with this pick and it stays the same character, but as the movie evolves, sometimes I change it, and in this case, I am. Initially, I was going to say, "Hey, pitch me your Wizard of Oz. Who is it?" But in this case, since we already have the Wicked Witch character and similar character, I want to know, and this is a character that hasn't been brought up. I want to know who your casting is for the mayor of Munchkinland, which I think in this case is like the guy that's running the festival, the Yellow Brick Festival in town. So. Or like just the mayor, I guess, of the town where the festival is being held. But like, I'd say the guy that runs the festival, So I want to know who your casting is for the mayor of Yellow Brick, if that's the name of the town. Julian.
Ooh, that's interesting. That's really cool. I will avoid any casting of little people in this role to avoid stereotypes, because the first instance is to go with Peter Dinklage. That's like one of the first ones.
Can't play them all. I know he'd love to, but
It's true. Also, my pick for the Wizard would have won as well. It would have been John Goodman.
I was going to go Peter Falk on that one.
But
Befuddled Columbo.
We've gone. We've done we mentioned him a bunch, and I was thinking about it. If we want to avoid stereotypes, we'll get a historically normal sized actor. I think someone that would be fun. And if we want to talk about Tarantino, working with an old actor for the first time, that he was never able to work with, I say, screw it, let's get Clark Gable. He worked with Victor Fleming. He has he has the fancy pencil thin mustache.
I was just about to say, he's got the stash.
Got a dapper suit. I could see him as the mayor. And if you think that that's the wrong choice, frankly, I don't give a damn. So, but no, I think he has the posture and the look and kind of the tone of voice that I think would lend itself to a mayoral type.
I got you. Yeah, no, I think so. I think so. Yeah, I'm just seeing his character in so many different. Of course, I love It Happened One Night. So that charisma he brings in that film, and just that lovability. But also, tell me more. What is your vision of the mayor's part in this film?
The mayor's part in the movie is he is a sycophant essentially for Henry Ounce's wizard, essentially. He wants to, like, bring him in so that he can invest in this small town. And he was willing to do anything to make sure that, like, he can suck up to this roving billionaire, so that he can, like, help bring, he thinks, this town into, like, the 20th century. Because it's the middle of this nowhere place, Kansas. And so he, like, gathers all these towns funds to throw this huge, elaborate festival to celebrate them coming in, to be like, hey, come to this town. We welcome you to Munchkinland. To try to convince him and to, like, develop and eventually extract oil to make this town rich again. And also to tie into the theme that I wanted with the heist film of corporate greed and politics getting involved in business and bending over backwards to appease these rich billionaires that do not care about you or the people of your town.
All right, Clark Gable, and this is an eclectic cast. Johnny, I'd like to hear what is going to be your mayor of Munchkinland.
Well, I too had a similar inclination at first to, like, well, okay, who's a small guy, who's a little guy, and yeah, do I go as small as Billy Barty, who certainly has quite a list of credits, was even in Under the Rainbow, the Chevy Chase, Carrie Fisher, Wizard of Oz comedy. But it's like we can go a little bigger than that. He doesn't need to be that little, but let's go with an actor who has probably shrunk considerably over his years on the planet. You mentioned him earlier as a potential director, and, like, let's give one last credit to Mel Brooks, aside from his inevitable cameo in Spaceballs 2, if they start filming that thing, like, right now. I mean, tick-tock, that guy's about to turn 100, isn't he? I don't know about that. But yeah, let's give Mel Brooks a little dignity, and let him be the mayor of Munchkinland, or the scene stealer. He is going to be, it's a little cameo, it's a good, like, a familiar face that we're all happy to see. Of course, he has, like, gotten smaller with age. We won't go with 99 Mel Brooks. We'll go, like, maybe mid to late 80s, early 90s even. I was thinking about this, though. Given that this is a heist picture and a Tarantino picture, that the mayor is going to be corrupt. He's a bit of a bastard, isn't he? And we all love Mel Brooks in films like, his classics, High Anxiety and stuff like that. But, I think he's underrated in a film that's not great, but I kind of like him in it in a film called Life Stinks, and he's kind of a bastard in that. He's a evil billionaire who gets, like, humanized and goes through a journey of self-discovery. But, like, I kind of want to see him in that mode of, like, yes, I'm just a wealthy industrialist who's run for mayor of this town, and now I'm running things my way, and we're all going to be happy to see Mel Brooks one last time.
All right, Mel Brooks versus Clark Gable. This is one of my favorite matchups here. I want to see what the guys think. All right. All-time great comedy director Mel Brooks versus one of the great movie stars of all time, Clark Gable. Andrew, what are you feeling on this one?
Yeah, I mean, whew. What a dynamic difference in characters here in terms of their approach to this character. One is kind of like not more serious, but like dastardly, literally, mustache twirling, Clark Gable with his mustache. Can't really twirl a paper thin mustache, but you get what I'm saying. As opposed to Mel Brooks, who would be so, like, over the top. I'm thinking of his character in Blazing Saddles. Like, that's what I'm thinking of when it comes to Mel Brooks. I'm even thinking of, like, what's it, Emperor Screw in Spaceballs. Ironically, I was talking about Spaceballs earlier today. I was just kind of reminiscing on what was the last directed film by Mel Brooks. Turned out to be Dracula Dead and Loving It from 1995, which is coincidentally celebrating its 30th anniversary. No real fanfare around that, I guess. But it's interesting just kind of how, like, they're trying to, bring him back to do another Spaceballs and whatnot just to be in it. And I kind of like this, once again, inspiring casting. I could see Tarantino doing that just because of, like I said, a love of legacy type of actors, the legacy of Mel Brooks. Just the fact that he could put Mel Brooks in a Quentin Tarantino film. Talk about people doing their last films. I think Quentin Tarantino is still working on his last film, if that ends up being his last film.
I think this is going to be his last film right here.
Oh, you do think this one is?
This one
I
will.
mean, you might as well go with the whole Wizard of Oz heist remake at this point to be his last movie. Why not? I like the Mel Brooks one. I do really like, um, Clark Gable in the role. But I feel like Clark Gable couldn't deliver. He couldn't deliver something that I think Mel Brooks could, which would be like a light, almost comedic, satirical aspect of it. If indeed that's what Tarantino is going for.
I think I'm kind of on your level here. Like I can see Mel Brooks playing this role, like kind of taking the piss out of it. Like he don't care. Like he's like,
right,
look,
and it would
I'm
be
just trying to get paid. Like,
I mean, and if we're dealing with kind of political corruption, and we want to point out how, it's rampant in society to the point where it's comedic because it's so rampant and so obvious, then you go with Mel Brooks. But if you want to be more, it's underneath the surface, it's, it's more straightforward, a more straightforward approach to this whole kind of like, a corruption thing and taking advantage of people and taking advantage of like, poorish landowners and whatnot, then you go with the Clark Gable aspect. But the Mel Brooks aspect gives it, I think, plays with it more so that's more accessible to audiences, really.
All right. Ryan, what's your angle on this?
I think Clark Gable is a great choice here. I think he is perhaps slightly on the nose for this. I think that if this was a different director, Clark Gable would have been a natural fit, and this would have fit perfectly. However, from the very beginning, I was secretly hoping that Mel Brooks was the one picked to direct this film, and I think this just is speaking to my heart. That's who I'm going to be going with tonight. Mel Brooks needs to be this character. I think he would be perfect. I think the word that I would use to like envision what I want to feel from him is shisty. Mel Brooks would have something shisty into this character. He would have that sort of like, this guy is skeevy in a way where he's going to be a bit of a bastard and screw me over. And yet when he walks away, I'm probably going to be giggling about it a little bit. And that pisses me off even more. I think that this is the perfect role for a film like this, where we are seeing somebody steal from the bank to pay the bank. And when that is an aspect in the story that you're telling, he is going to bring that comedic sensibility, and we know that he can deliver it in a way that is small and impish and giggly and shisty as he's delivering these roles. That being said, we got to film this pretty quickly. He's getting up there in age. So let's get this done.
Well, I mean, Johnny described him as maybe like the early '90s version. So he was what, in the '70s. It's fine. He'll be all right. But I think. I don't know. After he does a Tarantino movie, I don't know
exactly.
He might not survive. But no, I'm gonna have to agree. Like I just think that Mel Brooks in this kind of small role where he's every once in a while he'll do a scene, I think, where he gets to lay a good maybe like a couple good dialogue scenes where he gets to run through and kind of be, tell it how it is. And then he gets to say some slide remark and then get the hell out of my office. Or, so, I could see him just being just a bit bitchy, as the word we used earlier, just kind of being a bitch. And I like it. I think people, the fans that watch this, that know his filmography, will get a kick out of seeing him in this movie with this cast and with Tarantino directing it. And of course, it's Mel Brooks is a writer director himself. Like, he's probably going to be like talking to Tarantino, like, maybe he might be a little bit of an influence, so yeah, I'm going to have to go Mel Brooks too. I think that's kind of a cool out of left field pick for the mayor. Yeah. So we have now got it all tied up. Everybody is kind of tied. So now to see who takes co-ownership, like full ownership of this movie, they're going to have to pitch me a good title and tagline. So let's go see who has the best title tagline. Come back to you in a second, guys. All right.
For the record, I celebrated the 30th anniversary of Dracula Dead and loving it.
Oh, that's man.
Somewhat underrated, just somewhat, just slightly, but I prefer it to his Robin Hood movie at least.
Well, guys, this was really great. Both just battled through this whole thing, great pitches all the way through. But now, to see who takes ownership of this movie, you guys are going to have to give me a good title and tagline. Julian, I'm going to start with you. What is the title for this heist version of Wizard of Oz, directed by Quentin Tarantino, starring Gina Davis, Natalie Wood, Kurt Russell, and Mel Brooks?
The title of the film is Dorothy's Road. And the slogan, the tagline of the movie is, they say the wizard can give you anything, so they'll take everything.
Okay. Dorothy's Road. They say the wizard can give you anything, so they'll take everything. Okay. All right. Johnny, what do you got for us?
Okay, it's a heist movie. It needs a short, punchy title. Like, I'm thinking like, I don't know. What's another famous heist movie with a short, punchy title? I'd have to go like Michael Mann's Heat. So, of course, the only real option here would have to be Feet. It works on so many levels, you see. You first off, you get the pun right there. You draw these allusions to the Michael Mann film. You're already thinking heist. Plus, it's a double meaning. It's quite a feat that they're going to pull off. A feat of strength and wits and cunning and yeah, I'm making a foot joke, people. I'm making a foot joke. And then of course, the tagline would then have to be, click your heels together, slowly.
All right. Let's see what the guys think about this one. This is going to be difficult. All right.
Oh boy.
Dorothy's Road. They say the wizard can give you anything, so they'll take everything. Or the feet.
Just feet, not the feet.
Or okay, just I think it should be the feet, but feet. Click your heels slowly. It's something like that, yeah. Andrew,
Yeah.
what you think?
Andrew looks confused.
Yeah, because I like it's interesting because they both work on some type of deranged level. The thing is, I really like Julian's tagline. I just wish his title was a little bit. You know what's crazy? His title would have worked if it was the George Miller film. Like his title would have so worked with that, playing on Mad Max Fury Road, playing with the Road Warrior, playing on that level. But for a Tarantino movie, I don't know if that title works. And Johnny's is so specific. I don't know if it works for a Tarantino film. What was it? But click your heels slowly. What a double entendre there. Interesting stuff. I'm definitely going with Julian's tagline though. Like I like the tagline.
Yeah, but you got to pick one. There's no mixing.
I know I
Mixing
can't
and
mix and
matching.
match. It's not like you're not at a fast food restaurant here. I'm going with Julian. I'm going with Julian's.
So the tagline was so good that you think it makes up for the title.
Right. Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. Ryan?
First off, I don't want to sound like I'm just agreeing with everything, but I think the three of us have kind of been on the exact same page all night. I think Julian's title is way better, but I think Johnny's tagline is way better.
Yeah.
If it was Johnny's tagline with Julian's title, I'd be all for that film. Yeah, this one is tough because I really like puns, but it just doesn't sell the film for this one.
Okay.
I think I gotta go with Julian's.
All right. Yeah, there's not been any tiebreakers tonight. You know,
Nope.
where I've had to make a decision. We've been on the same page.
Yeah.
I was gonna be on the opposite side because I think I'm more. I think the title. I agree. Like I think the title. I think I think I kind of like Dorothy Road. I mean, it does describe the movie better than Feet, but I mean, if you would
Does it,
have added
though?
if you would have called it The Feet, I would have been more, but you said it's just Feet. So but
Oh, you should have called it Feet of Strength.
well,
or the Mighty Feet or something in that range.
well,
Even like Dorothy's Road is interesting if you play with it a little bit, in the sense like
Yep.
Dorothy's going down a dangerous road in life,
There you
or
go.
going down a dangerous
if
road
you
of
don't take it
pulling off the heist.
literal, like the
Yeah.
road, like yeah, more like a metaphor for like
Yeah, it's more
the
metaphorical.
the path that she's taking. So yeah, yeah, Dorothy's Road. The wizard can give anything. They're going to take everything. Something like that. I'll go in the replay and get it right. but I think that's going to be the game, Julian. This is your movie, man. Congratulations.
Beautiful, wonderful. It is an honor to see what the hell this classic movie has devolved into. This
I think Victor Fleming would be proud. I think he wouldn't be offended by this.
I think L. Frank Baum might be a fan, because L. Frank Baum was actually, before he passed, I think, before the movie came out, but he loved seeing different like the main movie. There were other ones, but he liked seeing different adaptations of his work. Like, he liked the play. So I would love to see how he would have reacted to this. Maybe he'd get a kick out of it.
Yeah. Johnny, great job, man.
Yeah, I bow down to you, Julian. These were excellent choices, and hey, you sold me on like Gina Davis and Kurt Russell and stuff like that. Like, it's you had a vision here, but I'm happy to have played the game. I think that we're cobbling together a pretty good film here, and The Wizard of Oz is a property that has been mined from ever since it's been made, and all this David Lynch stuff and space operas and why not a heist film? Yeah, I love it. So I can't wait to see this movie.
Also, I just want to say, Quentin Tarantino is nothing new to The Wizard of Oz, since he was in the cameo. He was in a cameo for The Muppet Wizard of Oz. He tried to pitch his violent, sword-filled movie to Kermit in a cutaway gag.
I forgot all about that, but you're right.
Wow. So this really just was meant to be.
And I was going to suggest casting a Muppet earlier, but I knew that Steven would give me guff on that. So one of these days, I'm going to get a Muppet in a cast.
All right. We'll talk about it. But judges, thank you for joining me, of course. Our guest judge, of course, once again, Ryan Verrill from The Disconnected. Thanks for getting in here. And, of course, we got to get you to play one of these days.
It's an honor. Yeah.
So, everybody, thank you for joining us for this mutation. We will have posters for Dorothy's Road that'll be up on our website, our Etsy site, where we got all of our other merch and stuff. So go check there. And thank you for mutating things with us. And we'll see you next time. Let's go see what the scientists. Let's go see what Dr. Perkins is doing.
Where is he?
Ha